AJ together this week?
I just see two guys that are great pros that, care deeply about winning, and they know that they're the way they perform, it dictates winning and losing, and they work very hard at that together to put the best product out on the field that we can.
Has there ever been a more dissected and scrutinized 4-0 team than the Eagles because of the way their offense looks? But Mina, how can they break out against a defense that we all know is very tough?
Man, it feels like 2023 all over again because the Eagles have to figure out how to beat split safety defenses once again, right? Last year, they faced split safety at the 30th highest rate in football. This year, it's 12th because teams are not afraid of them running them out of those looks the way they did last year with all those explosive runs. Denver is not traditionally a split safety defense, but Vance Joseph is no dummy. He's been watching the tape. I expect them to play way more zone than usual this week. And so there's a few things they can go to that. I'm sure, Dan and Marcus, you guys have some thoughts. One thing I would go to that I think has been curiously absent, RPOs. Dallas Goedert working the middle of the field. That's not been a big part of this offense thus far this season. And I think it should be because that has historically been one of their answers against zone in the past.
Yeah, MK, I love that you brought that up. Listen, I'm more like, I know this kind of been hijacked by A.J. Brown in the passing game, but we haven't talked about how ineffective the run game has been with the Philadelphia Eagles as well. And I know Saquon Barkley is a polarizing guy based on what he did last year, but they have to get him going as well. He's just not a guy making a lot of noise. And I think it goes back to what you just said, MK, trying to figure out how to get this RPO going. But more importantly, what about finding other areas for Saquon to attack, right? We just talked about how the San Francisco 49ers used Christian McCaffrey last night. There needs to be a little bit more nuance. Last year, his running opened up all of that passing that we start to see later in the season with the Philadelphia Eagles, but also it's become kind of stagnant. Like the runs and the concepts have become super stagnant. I think they need to kind of not reinvent this run game, but find more opportunities to get Saquon on edges, get him with long, drawn-out stretch plays, find ways to get him motioning back in from a slot position. Do some of those things to try to find some of that light. Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, duo all the time, Dio. At some point, as defenses, we are not going to allow you to just run down the gut of the defense. You're going to have to do something different. So hopefully we start to see Saquon find some space and them try to get him on some edges to unlock some things in this offense as well.
Yeah, defenders have just been picking him up so early in his runs. All right, let's talk about Bo Nix, okay? Career high in passing yards in that win over the Bengals on Monday. What kind of challenges do they present for Vic Fangio's defense?
Yeah, I think the big thing is that they'll present 4-by-1 formation, Denver to Philadelphia, but they'll do a lot of different things out of it. It's not just you're going to get it in one formation in one play or two formations in two plays. You can get gap scheme out of it where they'll go pullers and RPO opposite. So that's really two plays in one that you're going to have to defend if you're Philadelphia. They'll motion tool with a player like Marvin Mims, and they'll have a run, and then that just perimeter ball, and now Philadelphia defends it very well, but Mims has got really big-time speed. They'll get a 4-by-1 and just run at you. ISO ball with the lead blocker as their fullback, and they'll get into 4-by-1 and then motion, and it'll look like a RPO, and then they'll get to their 3-level pass concept and their rookie RJ Harvey out in space. And so I think just how Philadelphia handles all the different ways that Denver gets to their 4-by-1 and the different plays that they can run out of it will be a big storyline of how well that offense can play against a good defense.
Hannah, can I ask Dan a question?
Sure.
So, Dan, I'm so glad you brought that. That's what I was seeing. And one of Sean Staples when he was in New Orleans was trying to create space pre-snap, right? Is this 4-by-1 that he's created box removal? Is that his goal? To get this defense kind of widen and then create with that passing game?
Wins because the offense has largely struggled. We heard A.J. Brown talk about it. Philly's normally efficient offense is second worst in passing yards per game, is also fourth worst in yards per carry. They lead the league in drives without a first down. RC, welcome back. We've talked about the frustrations within this offense, what A.J. Brown has said and how that's played out publicly, but are you, knowing all of that, are you more concerned about Philly right now, or you think they're going to get this right?
Hey, come on, man. I'm confident in Philly. Like, we've seen this before. We've seen this team have to adjust. Think about who they were before the bye week last year and some of the things we were saying that this offense couldn't do. This team was a 500 football team. And then look at the run that they go on. Look at the way that A.J. Brown plays, the way that Saquon Barkley plays, and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. I'm not concerned about this team, but they also understand that it's time to get it going. Now, the thing that they have to focus on is what step does Kevin Patullo, the new offensive coordinator, take? Remember, this is the third consecutive year with a new guy at the helm calling the plays. What adjustments do you make? How do we allow A.J. Brown to become a more creative part of the offense? And how do we get Saquon Barkley back to the Saquon Barkley that was having an opportunity to get to the second level before he was touched by a defender? But we're saying all of that while they're 4-0. We're talking about what's wrong with the Rams, and they have 2 losses. You're talking about what's wrong with other teams because they lose football games. Even with some of the things they've been dealing with, they're finding ways to win, and that's what makes me confident.
I don't know if we call those champagne problems, Cam, but give me the quarterback perspective here, because this team is undefeated, yet they're struggling with their passing offense. Is it on Jalen Hurts to get it right here? Because last I checked, he's still targeting A.J. Brown a lot.
Yeah, but not enough. And, you know, when I'm looking at from a quarterback's lens of when I see the Philadelphia Eagles play, I kind of agree with Drew Brees here. It is boring, but it's also effective. I can guarantee you that A.J. Brown's route tree is going to be as simple as anybody in the NFL with his skill set. But they're still 4-0. Okay, let's talk about facts. Well, when you play Dallas, if CeeDee Lamb catches 2 of the 4 drops, are we still having this conversation? Okay, you play LA, if you don't block a field goal, are we still having this type of conversation? Okay, when you play Tampa Bay without Baker Mayfield with the costly interception, are we still having this conversation? And I know, I get it, I'm gonna beat everybody to the punch and say a game of what ifs. They're still 4-0. But my point that I'm making is this. A lot of teams have been letting them off the hook. And we know Philadelphia does not need help. They are one of the best, if not the best, football team in the NFL as defending champs, and rightfully so. And I've went on record, and I will keep saying it. The Philadelphia Eagles is a team that does less with more, and I think that's the most frustrating thing about this whole situation when you're analyzing a team as a whole, as they are still winning.
Well, excuse me that less is a Super Bowl championship. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, we underachieved and won the Super Bowl. Gosh dang it. It's so good. It's so much better to be lucky than good, obviously. I get it. It is ugly. And Drew's right. It is boring. But it's effective. Now, do you go back to the film and you watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game and the way that Benjamin Morrison was playing at the right corner, what we saw from Parrish in the slot, and say, wait, these 2 rookies are breaking up passes on A.J. Brown? Are we going to get him some low crossers? Are we going to get him